Hello, my name is Madeline, and welcome to this Yin Yoga class for sleep. This class is loosely inspired by the moon, so maybe your intention for class is to really kind of go inward and take in those reflective qualities that the moon represents. So let's get started with a little bit of movement. We'll start with some seated cat-cows. You can bring the hands to the knees. As you inhale, begin to arch the spine forward, looking up towards the sky. And then rounding the back as you exhale. And you can continue like this, or take any kind of fluid movement that feels good in the body. Maybe making some circles. Again, trying to go inward, trying to listen to whatever feels best in your body today. Maybe going more slowly as you're about to go to sleep soon after. And whenever you're ready, return back to center, and we'll make our way onto our knees to come into a child's pose. And for this child's pose, we're going to go for a closed leg child's pose. Draw the forehead down towards the mat. And then reach those arms behind you. So you're really in this round, kind of ball-like shape here. If you prefer to go for a wide leg child's pose, of course, you can go do that instead. And settling into the pose wherever you are and breathing deeply. Letting go of any stress or tension from the day. And surrendering. Remembering your deep breath. And maybe in our last few breaths in child's, you want to rock your forehead from side to side, tapping into that third eye space. And then let's take one last breath here. And whenever you're ready, start to slowly press back up onto those hands, taking your time. And then sliding the legs out in front of you. And we'll come down onto our backs for a reclining butterfly. So first, before that, maybe you want to hug the knees into the chest and rock a little side to side just to release that back a little bit. And returning back to center. And we'll start to bring those legs out in front of us and then bring the soles of the feet together so that you have your legs in a diamond-like shape. If you have blocks and you like to use them, you can place them underneath the knees at whatever height feels good to make it a little more gentle. And then just let the arms drape out to the sides. And breathe. And maybe close your eyes here if you can, and if that feels right. And let's take one more breath in this reclining butterfly. Then, if you are using blocks, you can release those off to the sides. Place the hands on the outsides of the thighs and gently draw those knees back together. From here, you might want to windshield wiper those legs from side to side, rocking the knees side to side. Maybe hearing some cracks or pops in the body. It's all good. Then return back to center, and we'll stretch those legs out long to prepare for a banana asana. So legs out long, reach the arms up above the head, and keep both hip points on the ground here. And just shift the hips a little over to the left. And then start to draw the feet over to the lower right corner of the mat. And then that upper body over to the upper right corner of the mat. So you're in this crescent-like shape here. Option to cross left ankle over the right. Maybe grab hold of the left wrist with the right hand. Option to grab opposite elbows instead, or find another arm variation that feels best for you. And surrender here, breathing into the whole left side body. And let's take a couple more breaths here. If you have the ankles crossed, beginning to uncross them, let go of the wrist, and then slowly make your way back to center. And we'll just pause at center here, a little mini shavasana before we go into the other side. And notice the difference between the sides, if you feel any. And whenever you're ready, we'll come into that banana asana on the left. So this time, shifting those hips a little over to the right, bringing the arms up above you once again, and then drawing the feet over to the lower left corner of the mat and the upper body to the upper left corner. Again, making that crescent-like shape. Option to cross the ankles. An option to grab hold of the right wrist with the left hand, or choose any arm variation that feels good. And this time we'll breathe into the entire right side body. And maintaining that deep breath as you hold in the stillness of the pose. And we'll take a couple more deep breaths here. And then slowly making your way back to center, uncrossing the ankles, letting go of the wrist. And again, just pause here at center for a couple breaths. And then draw the knees back into the chest. Option to rock a couple times, side to side. Then you can start to roll back and forth on the mat or just press up into a seated position. Maybe seeing if you can keep your eyes closed here. And we'll come into a seated position with the legs out long, preparing for a caterpillar pose. And I recommend for this caterpillar pose to maybe bend those knees a lot if you want to kind of stick towards that theme of going inward. If you prefer some more hamstring opening, you can keep the legs out long. It's up to you. And whenever you're ready, reach the arms up towards the ceiling and start to fold over those legs. So maybe the feet are flat on the mat, legs super bent, and you just allow your head to kind of rest in between those knees. And this can feel really relaxing, really grounding. Try to soften the back, soften the neck. Let any tension just melt away. And with each breath, try to soften a little bit more. And take one more deep breath here. And then slowly start to roll up, coming out of it. Really taking your time. And from here, you can go for those windshield wipers again, rocking the knees from side to side. Hopefully, you're starting to feel pretty relaxed by now. And returning back to that stillness, we'll come towards our hands and knees to prepare for a sleeping swan pose. So if you know that sleeping swan or pigeon doesn't feel good in your body, you can come into a figure 4 on your back instead, or a reclining pigeon. And if you want to go for the sleeping swan, start to draw that right knee up towards the right wrist. And then that right ankle will be in line with the left wrist, so that right shin is parallel with the top of the mat. If you have any space in between that right hip and the mat, you can always place a block or a blanket underneath. We'll take one breath looking forward here, and then start to fold forward over that right shin. Option to grab a block and place your forehead on top of it if that feels nice. And again, just melting into the pose. And these deep hip openers like this tend to bring up a lot of emotions. So, again, just going inward and observing without judgment how you're feeling here. And we'll take one more deep breath here. And start to press back up onto those hands, being really gentle here. And slide that right leg back. Maybe just staying in tabletop or pressing back up into a downward dog to release everything here. Maybe pedaling out the legs a little bit. And then from this downward dog, we'll come into the other side. So sliding that left knee up in line with the left wrist. And then the left ankle in line with the right wrist. So that left shin is parallel with the top of the mat. Again, you can place anything underneath that left hip if you feel some space between the hip and the mat. Option as well, you can always go for your reclining pigeon or figure four on your back, and you don't have to do the same thing that you did on the other side. Our bodies are asymmetrical, so things can be really different for different sides. And whenever you're ready, take one breath looking up, and then start to fold forward over that left shin. Option two, bring a block underneath you for your forehead. And surrendering into the pose, letting yourself relax. we'll take a couple more breaths here. And slowly pressing back up onto the hands. You can start to let that go. Maybe this time just rocking a little over to the left. And then bringing that right leg out long in front of you. Again, being really gentle. Maybe shaking those legs a little bit side to side. And then we'll come back down onto the mat, all the way on our backs, hugging the knees into the chest. And then from here, take any final movement or poses you need before we head into Shavasana. So maybe you want to take a brief twist from side to side. Again, listening to your intuition, listening to your body, listening to what feels good. And whenever you're ready, we'll meet in Shavasana with the legs out long, arms drooping over to the sides, and completely surrendering into the mat, closing the eyes for your final resting pose. And I encourage you to stay in this Shavasana as long as you like, if you have the time, or just go ahead and fall asleep. But if you'd like to close class, we'll close with a final breath, exhaling all the air out now. Take a deep inhale through the nose, and then a big sigh out the mouth. And thank you so much for practicing with me. I hope you're feeling relaxed, feeling sleepy. And if you'd like to see more yin yoga classes like this, please subscribe to my channel. and I'll see you again next time.